Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa tabi'ah, amma ba'd. We reached the book of Hajj. First, we have the necessary conditions for Hajj to be obligatory. And we have 7. These conditions, in order for Hajj to be obligatory, which means if they are not fulfilled all, Hajj is not obligatory upon you. First one is being a Muslim. Second one is reaching the age of puberty. The third one is sanity. The fourth one being a free person. The fifth one, the availability of food and transportation. The sixth one, the safety of the road. And finally, being able to walk. Without any of these conditions, Hajj is not mandatory. We find many people, they ask for help, financial help. Why? Because I want to go for Hajj. You don't have to. If you don't have enough money, Hajj isn't obligatory upon you. That's what these conditions mean. If you are sick, in a sense that you cannot walk, so again, Hajj is not obligatory upon you. So don't be worried, don't feel bad, because you are exempt. Why? These are the most conditions in any of ibadah, in Hajj. Why? Because Hajj requires both financial and physical ability. Unlike other types of ibadah where you have one of them, like prayer, you don't have to pay anything, but you have to be able to stand and bow and prostrate. While in Hajj, you have to have money. Otherwise, you cannot go. Even if you had the money, but there was no way to go there. It was very far, and the road wasn't safe. Again, the same thing. You don't have to go. So these conditions, actually, they make it easy for the Muslim. Unless all of them fulfilled, you don't have to go for Hajj. So these are the 7 conditions. Next, we have the essential rites of the pilgrimage. 5 essential pillars that need to be done. First one, making the intention to enter into ihram. What does ihram mean? Ihram, when we say the word ihram, what comes to mind? What do you know about ihram? Wearing those 2 towels. So now, if I felt hot and I put on 2 towels, am I in the state of ihram? No. This is what many people think when they look at someone, just because he is wearing those 2 pieces of garment, that he is in the state of ihram. No. This is a preparation. The state of ihram is actually with the intention that you are entering into the rites of Umrah or Hajj. So you put those on, but that doesn't mean you are in the state of ihram. You are in the state of ihram when you declare the intention, whether labbaik Allahumma Umrah or labbaik Allahumma Hajj, from that designated area. That's what ihram means. Okay? But we have the notion that for some reason, once these are put on, then no. That's just a preparation. Standing in Arafah. When do we stand in Arafah? On the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. On the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. Circumambulating the Kaaba on the day of Eid. When is the day of Eid? It is the 10th. One day after standing in Arafah. Walking between As-Safa and Al-Marwa. When does that happen? After the tawaf. We call it tawaf al-ifada, the tawaf of the visit. Then the walking between Safa and Marwa. And then shaving of the head, again on that day. So how many things do we have? 5. But there are many things that are not mentioned. Sleeping in Mina. Staying in Muzdalifah also. What's the ruling here? All of these are not pillars. They are either sunnah or only wajib. What does it mean, wajib? If it's a wajib, then you are to do it, and if you don't do it, you are liable for kafara, but your hajj is valid. While those ones, if you don't do them, your hajj is invalid. You have to do them. That's what it means. The essential rites of Umrah: entering into ihram, that's number one. Circumambulating the Kaaba, walking between Safa and Marwa, and shaving or trimming the hair. These are the 4 rites of Umrah. But for the Hajj we have one additional thing, which is standing in Arafah. Now, the required rites of the pilgrimage, other than the essential ones. Okay, so now you differentiate between required and essential in terms of Hajj. Only in Hajj. Required means wajib. Essential means fard. Required means if you leave it, your Hajj is still valid, but you are liable for kafara. Slaughtering sheep or fasting or any of the kafaras. But essential means that your Hajj is invalid without them. So somebody came on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, on the day of Eid. Can he finish the Hajj on the 10th? He missed Arafah. There is no Hajj anymore. It's too late. Okay, that's what it means. So the required rites of the pilgrimage, other than the essential ones, they are 3. Entering into ihram only at occasions specified by the Prophet ﷺ from the designated place. So if you are coming from Malaysia, where is the place where you're supposed to start your ihram? Qarn al-Manazil. You know where that is? It's less than 100 kilometers south of Mecca. Okay? People from the north, from Asham, where is their miqat? Do you know? From Al-Juhfa. Juhfa. People from Medina, where is their miqat? Abyar Ali. So to make the ihram from there, that is required. Ihram itself is pillar. You cannot perform Hajj or Umrah without ihram. What does that mean? So if you pass one of those places, you are supposed to start from there, and you didn't. You were late. You continued, and then you started ihram. Your Hajj or Umrah is still valid, but you are liable for kafara. Is it clear now the difference between required and essential? So, entering into ihram only at occasions, only at locations that are specified by the Prophet ﷺ. Casting the pebbles. What pebbles? Ramyul Jamara. When and how? When is that? Anyone? You've never been for Hajj? Nobody went for Hajj? You've been? Not yet? You've been? So you didn't throw the pebbles? 7 or 21? 777. Boeing. This one is which one? Casting the pebbles. We have on the day of Eid, how many? Only one of them, the last one, 7 times. Al-Aqaba al-Kubra. That's on the day of Eid. The next day, how many? 21. 7, 7, 7. Just like the sister said. But on the day of Eid, only 7, the last one. Because we have 3 places. We have 3 places. 7 at each. That's on the first day after Eid, which is 11th of the Hijjah. Second day after Eid, 12th of the Hijjah. But on the day of Eid, it's only 7 at the first one. Or the last one. Jamrat al-Aqaba al-Kubra, the last one. Okay? In total, how many do you throw? Hmm? 49 if you want to rush. Okay? And 70 if you are staying for the 3rd day, which very few people do. Allah says, فَمَنْ تَعَجَّلَ فِي يَوْمَيْنِ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ. He who rushes in 2 days, there is no harm on him. وَمَنْ تَأَخَّرَ. And he who delays, if you want to delay for a 3rd day after the Hajj, after the Eid, Eid al-Adha, also it is permissible. If you stay for a 3rd day, you have to throw them 7, 7, and 7. Okay? So if you want it, the extended ones, on the day of Eid, you throw the last one 7. Next day, 7, 7, 7. That's day 1. The next day, again 7, 7, 7. That's day 2. And then the last day, again 7, 7, and 7. Okay, that's 63 plus the 7 on the day of Eid, that's 70. That's the extended one. But most people, what do? Only 2 days after the day of Eid. So that's 42 plus the 7, that's what? 49. What's the ruling on doing that? If you miss them, your Hajj is invalid? It is valid, but you are liable for kafara. Okay. Shaving the head. Now this was repeated twice, according to one opinion. First, we mentioned it as an essential rite of pilgrimage. Actually, you need to strike that out from the top. It's here. The correct opinion that it is required, it is not essential. See it repeated twice. It cannot be twice. It has to be either required or essential. For Umrah, yes, it is essential. But for Hajj, it is required only. It's repeated at number 2 and number 4. Number 2, the last one, number 5, and number 4, the last one, number 3. So keep it at number 4 and scratch it from number 2. Do you understand what happened? We left them to tell you that there is more than one opinion, that's all. Okay. The recommended rites of pilgrimage. Now these are what? Recommended. What does it mean? If you leave them, there is nothing on you. You don't have to do anything. But you only lose reward, that's all. Your Hajj is still valid, you don't have to do anything. First one, performing the pilgrimage without the Umrah. What do we call that? How many types of Hajj we can make? 3. First one is what? Ifrad. What's the meaning of Ifrad? Singular. That's Ifrad. Meaning you do Hajj only. You're going there to perform Hajj only. And according to the Shafi'i school of thought, this is the recommended one. You do Hajj without Umrah. Only Hajj. The second form, what do? It's called Tamattu'. Umrah and Hajj. And in between, you break your Ihram. So you go for Hajj about 20 days earlier. You cannot stay in the state of Ihram all these days, because staying in the state of Ihram means you don't approach your wife sexually. You don't wear perfume. You don't put on your regular clothes. You don't, a lot of things. You cannot shave. But you go there 20 days earlier, you perform Ihram. After you perform you perform Umrah, after you finish the Umrah, you terminate the Ihram. And then on the 8th of the Hijjah, what is called the day of Tarwiyah, you start the ihram again from your place. At the hotel, wherever you are, you start your ihram again. That's what is it called? It's called tamattu'. Tamattu'. Umrah during the time of Hajj with breaking the ihram. The third form is qiran. Same thing, Umrah during the time of Hajj, but without breaking the ihram. Without breaking the ihram. For those who never been, it's kind of difficult to keep track of all these. So try slowly. Again, the only thing we are mixing, Umrah and Hajj together, that's all. You have Hajj alone, you have Umrah and Hajj with breaking between them, and you have Umrah and Hajj without breaking, staying at the state of Ihram. So the recommended rites for pilgrimage, performing the pilgrimage without the Umrah, only Hajj, you go for Ifrad only. You don't have to perform Umrah, only Hajj. The second, chanting the Talbiyah, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik la sharika laka Labbaik, Inna alhamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. This is recommended. What if somebody didn't say it? His Hajj is valid. Does he have to pay any kafara, to do anything? No, he's just losing reward. The companions used to start that the minute they start the ihram. You say Labbaik Allahumma Umrah or Labbaik Allahumma Hajjan, and you start saying Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik la. Unfortunately, in our time, we start for 5 minutes and that's it. All the way. You see, now it doesn't make sense to say Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik. This is a temporary ibadah at a temporary place, only during that time. So make sure you do it as much as possible, because there isn't other time that you do it. There isn't another time that you do it. Unfortunately, many people, they are busy. What are we going to have for lunch? How we are arriving? Is it air conditioned? Is it this? Is it? So at that time, make sure that you are saying as much as possible Labbaik Allahumma, because that's the only time. Circumambulating the Kaaba at the beginning of the pilgrimage. This is different from the one that we mentioned at number 2. This one, the minute you arrive to Mecca, whether it's the 4th of the Hijjah, 5th of the Hijjah, it's recommended. But if you didn't do that, still your Hajj is valid. You don't have to do it. The only time you have to circumambulate the Kaaba is on the day of what? The day of Eid, the 10th of the Hijjah. That's Tawaf al-Ifada. Spending a night at Muzdalifah. When do we spend the night at Muzdalifah? Let's try and have it in days. The days we have the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, according to what most people do. 8th of the Hijjah, do we have to do anything? Is there anything done? Yes or no? Ihram. Ihram. And Mina. Going to Mina. We have Mecca, where the Kaaba is, and then we have Mina, and we have Arafah. Arafah is the furthest. Arafah, that's the last. From Mina, on the 9th, we are already in the state of what? Ihram. The 9th, where do we go? Arafah. Until when? Until sunset. So after sunset, where do we go? We are here now in Arafah, okay? We were in Mecca on the 8th at the hotel. We went to Mina. From Mina on the 9th, we went to Arafah. Now the night of the Eid, before the Eid, this is the night of the 9th. Where do we go? Muzdalifah. Where is Muzdalifah? Muzdalifah is in between Arafah and Mina. It is in between Arafah and Mina. That's where Muzdalifah. This is where you spend the night. You sleep there. And you wake up on the day of Eid. That's the 10th. You wake up on the 10th, the day of Eid. What do we do on the 10th? What do we do on the 10th? Actually, a lot of things. A lot of things. We start with Salat what? For the one who's performing Hajj, he doesn't have to pray. You throw the pebbles. How many? 7. Only 7. After that, you go for the tawaf. That's the tawaf that is mandatory or essential, to be more accurate. And after the tawaf, sa'i between Safa and Marwa. And once you finish that, you shave and you put on your regular clothes. So most actions are when? On the 10th. There is another act, but we don't do it personally. They used to do it, but now there are people doing it on our behalf, which is slaughtering. Slaughtering. If you are doing Hajj only, you don't have to do the slaughtering. But if you do Umrah and Hajj, you have to do the slaughtering. And it's done on the 10th. Once this is done, what do we do? Where do we go? Do we go to Mecca? No, we stay in Mina. Sleeping in Mina. For what? On the 11th, what do we have? How many actions do we have on 11th? Just the pebbles. Throwing 21. And the same thing on the 12th, and with that, Hajj is over. So, back to number 4. Next to last one at page 12. Spending a night at Muzdalifah. This is the night that we spend at Muzdalifah when? The 9th, after going from Arafah, after finishing Arafah. Praying 2 rak'ah after circumambulating the Kaaba. It's always recommended. And there is a place, as Allah says, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى, behind the station of Ibrahim. You know the place, the golden one? Behind it. But of course, during Hajj, it's full. And you might be at the other place. Anywhere, you pray 2 rak'ah. You don't have to be there. But if you can, that's better. If you cannot, you don't have to. So are these actions clear? For the one who was not there, maybe they're not clear. And I should have brought the chart. I have it. Next time, inshallah. Spending the nights in Mina on the days of Tashriq. What are the days of Tashriq? These are the days of Tashriq. 11th, 12th, and 13th if you want. But you don't have to. Because if you stay on the 12th, and you don't leave before sunset, you have to stay until the 13th in Mina. And you throw again 21. 7, 7 and 7. So staying those nights, that's recommended. according to the Shafi'i school of thought. According to other scholars, it is mandatory. You have to stay. You cannot go to Mecca. Nowadays, actually, it is very crowded. Mina is not a large place. It's all filled with tents. Most Hajj groups, if they haven't been there for a long time, they don't have space. Actually, it's extended to Muzdalifah because there isn't room. There isn't enough room. But anyways, these are the recommended acts according to the Shafi'i school of thought. Number 6, 9 things that are forbidden for anyone who enters into Ihram. If you are in the state of Ihram, you need to remember that there are 9 things you have to avoid. What if you do one of them? There is a kafara. You are liable for the kafara. Wearing sewn garment. Like what? Like this. Or even this. I'm wearing on the 2 towels, but I put this on. I cannot. That's for men and women. Okay, I wanted to see if you're fasting or not. That's only for men. What about women? They enter into the state of Ihram with the intention. They don't have to change anything. Okay? Only men do. Women, they don't do. Actually, what women should do, only few of them, whoever is covering the face, the cover needs to be removed. As the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تنتقب المحرمة. The one who is in the state of Ihram, the female who is in the state of Ihram, shouldn't wear niqab. Okay. Covering the head for men and the face for women. That's number 2. Covering the head. I cannot wear this in the state of Ihram. Shaving the head. While you are in the state of Ihram, you cannot shave your head. Clipping the nails. Again, why is that? You need to do that before you enter in the state of Ihram. Now, you are not busy with anything of this dunya. You're not busy beautifying yourself. You're busy worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. SubhanAllah, during Hajj, when you see all these crowds, it's a reminder of the day of resurrection. When we are all resurrected. Who would bother about what everybody else is wearing or doing? Because actually, we are busy with what will happen to us. This is similar thing, that you took off your clothes, you are wearing the 2 towels, we are equal, all people are equal, we are there for a greater purpose, greater than taking care of our hair, our fingers, our nails, so you don't do that. Wearing perfume. With all the heat, you don't wear perfume. You can take a shower, but not wearing perfume. Attached to that, using the soap with the perfume. Because some people say, what about the soap that has perfume? No. You can use the soap, no problem, but regular soap that doesn't have scent. Hunting. You're going there for ibadah, so you don't hunt. You go chase animals, hunt them. No. Involving in a marriage contract. Whether you are the one who's going to get married or you are a witness. Involving in the marriage contract. That's not allowed. Again, during the state of Ihram, whether for Hajj or Umrah, you don't do that. You are there for a greater purpose. Engaging in a sexual intercourse. That's another thing also. You're there for worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't involve in sexual intercourse. Finally, directly touching with a desire the skin of one's spouse. Why they say directly touching with desire? Because that's attached to the previous one. You're there for worship, so you don't involve yourself in any sexual act. Not the intercourse itself, but anything that leads to it. Anything with desire. So, can the husband shake the hand of his wife during Ihram? If it's a normal, regular, yes. But if it is with desire, no. Okay? Finally, sacrifices that are obligatory when one is in the state of Ihram. We have a lot of sacrifices. First one, if one does not perform an essential or required rite of the pilgrimage, he must sacrifice a sheep. Remember, if you don't go on the 9th for Arafah, is your Hajj valid? It's not valid anymore. You have to sacrifice and you have to come next year. What do you sacrifice? You sacrifice a sheep. On the 10th, you made it to Arafah. You did 3 of the 4 things. You didn't shave your head. Are you liable for anything? Yes. You sacrifice and you do the thing. Your Hajj is valid. So that's number 1. Number 2, if one shaves his head or in general indulges in some of the forbidden things during Ihram. What are the forbidden things? They are at number 6. How many? 9 things. Any one of those 9 things, you must either offer a sacrifice or fulfill the kafara. Again, you either slaughter a sheep or what do? Fulfill the kafara. What is the kafara? What is the kafara? You fast 3 days during Hajj and 7 days outside Hajj, so you fast 10 days. Because some people, they cannot afford it. They barely made it there. Their money was only enough to go there. They don't have extra money. Extra 150 ringgit, 200 ringgit to pay for a sheep. They don't have that. What's the alternative? You fast 10 days. Is there another alternative? Yes. You feed. How many people? 6. Okay? 6 people. That's number 2. Number 3, if one is unable to complete the essential or required nusuk of the pilgrimage due to illness. You were there, you were fine, but then you got sick. You caught virus. And you were hospitalized. You cannot leave. You missed number 9th, the night of the Arafah. You missed number 10. Cannot catch Hajj anymore. What do? Because these things, they need to be done at that time. Cannot go now and say, let's be smart and go, there is nobody now, let's do them now. They have to be done at specific time. So, you missed them, you were sick. You terminate and you sacrifice. So that sacrifice is to terminate your state of Ihram. So that's number 3. Number 4, if one hunts an animal. Hunting an animal necessitates a kafara that is similar. Like what? Let's say, have you seen the llama? Do you know the llama? It's similar to what types of animals? Deer. Let's take a deer. Deer is similar to what type of animals that we can sacrifice? Sheep. Okay? And so on and so forth. Any animal that you hunt, you are liable for a sacrifice that is similar to it. If there is no similar, the minimum is what? Sheep. If there is no equivalent, you estimate its value and buy food equivalent to its value. What is the equivalent, roughly, of the value? Yeah. How many muds? This is 1 mud. Okay? So it could be 6, 3, depending on... Because what if you hunt a chicken? It is small. You're not asked to sacrifice sheep. But rather, what do? You could feed 3 people instead. And that would be enough. So that's number 4. Number 5, if one engages in sexual intercourse. Somebody lost it. He lost control. He couldn't keep himself. So he did that, let's say, on the day of 9th. In Arafah. Now, there are how many things? A, you sacrifice a camel. Now, it's not a sheep anymore, it is what? Camel. Why? Because the act is greater now. If you couldn't, you sacrifice a cow. Only if you couldn't. If you couldn't, then you sacrifice 7 sheep. If you couldn't, then you estimate the value of the she-camel and buy food equivalent to its value and give it in charity. And if you couldn't, you fast in return of every day of the mud. Let's say it was equivalent to 20 muds. That's the amount of food. And you couldn't buy that amount. You have to fast how many days? 20 days. Not only that, your Hajj is terminated by this action. So you have to come next year to perform Hajj. So this is the book of Hajj, roughly, in brief. And with this we conclude the basic fiqh, which is only the book of ibadat. As you see, we took only the pillars. We didn't take the transactions. We didn't take the family law. We didn't take the criminal law. That, inshallah, is coming in the diploma program. Inshallah. Any questions about the book of Hajj? Yes.
I think there's one point you say
Number 5. Page 12 or page 13? Page 13, number 5. If one engages in sexual intercourse?
There's 7, but there's 6 points. The recommended rights.
The recommended rights. Yeah. Why do we say they are 7? Or 6? You see number 2, number 2. We say they are 5, right? But you're asked to strike one of them, the last one. They are actually 4. So the same thing here. They are actually 6.
So there used to be shaving the head also.
Yeah. Yes.
So what is the meaning of Tawaf Wada?
Tawaf al-Wada', that's where it needs to be. It is recommended, according to the Shafi'i school of thought. According to other scholars, it is mandatory. She asked about Tawaf al-Wada'. What is Tawaf al-Wada'? Why you're coming too early? What's the rush? What is Tawaf al-Wada'? Once you finish on the 12th, you are recommended to go back to Mecca to do Tawaf. Is that mandatory? According to the Shafi'i school of thought, it is recommended. So this is the one that is not mentioned, if you want to keep them 7. Tawaf al-Wada'. In another opinion, it is with the required acts. It necessitates sacrifice if you leave it by option. Some said it is sunnah to wear white color clothes for ladies on the Arafah day. Is that true? Not specifically on Arafah day. No. Generally, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned خير ثيابكم البياض. The best of your clothes are white. Now scholars differed. Is that only for men or it's general? For men and women. But that's not only during Hajj or Umrah. During Hajj and Umrah there isn't specification. The ihram is for men, changing the clothes. So no, that's not true. For Umrah and Hajj, does a woman need to go with her mahram? That's a good question. If you don't have a mahram, you don't have to perform Hajj to begin with. Again, it's of the necessary conditions for pilgrimage to be obligatory. Scholars agreed on that. You don't have to go for Hajj. It is involved in the safety of the road, number 6. And it is involved in the availability of transportation for many women. Because who is the provider for them? Yes, they do have money, but usually who is the provider? The husband. So you don't have to go. But she wanted to go. Is it permissible? According to the Maliki school of thought, Shafi'i school of thought, as long as it's safe, it is permissible. If no mahram, can she go with 2 women, friends you can trust? Again, that's the opinion of some scholars. If there is a group of people and their company is trustworthy, yes, you can go with them as friends. But to begin with, you don't have to. You don't have to. Again, just like the one who doesn't have the money, you don't have to search and ask people to give you and then you go for Hajj. It's not mandatory. Some scholars say no, it's not permissible. According to the Hanbali school of thought, no. If you don't have mahram, you don't go. Any other questions?
Sorry, I didn't catch you earlier on. When you do the sacrifice, if you miss an essential part of the Hajj, does it then validate the Hajj or you still have to do it again the next year?
Depending. If you miss something from number 2, the essential rites, it's not enough to do the sacrifice. It will be too late. But if you miss from number 4, the required acts, then yes, that's all what you have to do. So, let's say you came on the 10th, not on the 9th. You missed staying in Arafah. You came after sunset. Too late. Okay? You came on the 10th. That's too late. So, you sacrifice and you move on? No, it's too late. You have to come next year. But you don't shave. You sacrifice and you continue.
In that case, sorry, if can a woman then who plans to go for Hajj, can she take medication to stop or halt her menses so that she's able to...
Some scholars talked about that. As long as you can perform the tawaf, that's what matters. Only from all these things, the tawaf. As long as you can perform the tawaf, you can do anything else. So, but the tawaf, which is on the 10th, if you're afraid that you might not be able, scholars differ. So, can you? That's one solution. You take a medication, it delays it for a few days, or you have to wait, and now it's very difficult because you are attached to a group. You cannot keep the entire group waiting because you have to do the tawaf. You cannot do it while that. One opinion said no, even if that's the case, it's a necessity, so you do it. So the question is, can a woman take medication? Yes, she can. Any other questions?
When you do tawaf, you have the intention, so you enter into the intention to do the tawaf. You're supposed to be certain, but let's say halfway, something happened, let's say you're walking with your mother and she fell and all that, and you forgot that you have not completed.
Yeah. So it's not complete. You need to go back and complete it.
Okay, what happened if you totally forgot about it, you come back to Malaysia, is that?
Yeah, you have to sacrifice because you terminated your ihram while you shouldn't, because this is still incomplete. and you need to complete it, because is this pillar or it's essential or required? If it's essential, you have to do it. Because you forgot, you are excused, there is no sin on you, but the act itself is still incomplete.
And you can back to Malaysia and you do things that you actually not supposed to do while you're in.
That's why you need to sacrifice. And then you do whatever you want. But you need to go back again to complete that. Yes?
For pregnant woman or lactating woman, if the husband does the tawaf for her, does he have to do the tawaf twice, or
For?
the tawaf
Tawaf shouldn't be done on behalf of anybody.
for lactating woman, or
Only the pebbles. That's why being able to walk is mentioned, number 7, of the necessary conditions for the pilgrimage to be obligatory. If a husband can make the tawaf on behalf of the woman, then even menses is not an issue. She has to perform the tawaf. It's not done on her behalf. Any other questions?
Just asking, following the question. If so, those old ladies that are being pushed around by whoever it is, their families.
Yes, they push
are
back.
not walking, so their tawaf is valid.
Tawaf can be done riding. It can, but it shouldn't be. Earlier, like over 15 years ago, they used to have the wooden on the... You don't have to. If you cannot walk, you don't have to do it. They have the wheelchairs also. That's all permissible. Even in the books of fiqh, they mention if you do tawaf swimming, it is permissible. Is it imaginable? Yes, it's actually happened. One of the companions, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, radiallahu anhu, because Mecca, it's a valley surrounded by mountains. So when it rains, all that water goes there. So it happened, and he was doing tawaf, swimming. So as long as you do the circumambulating, it is permissible, whether you are walking or riding or any shape or form. But you need to do it. You need to finish 7. Any other questions? Yeah. No, it's okay.
Some people, although yes, it's not recommended to bring children to
Yes.
Hajj, and if they do, children who are not potty trained yet, and they're wearing pampers and all that, does that invalidate in any way, or you shouldn't hold them?
No. A woman at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, she carried the baby, and she said, would there be Hajj for him? He said yes, and you will be rewarded for it. Especially in our time, it's not recommended, it's very difficult, but it happened, it's permissible. Any other questions? Okay, Jazakumullah khair. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.